Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore thee. Hey guys, it's Melissa, also known as Melly Mel the Muse. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, consider joining my community of muses by clicking that subscription button as well as tapping that little notification bell. This is my fourth and final installment of my, yes, Black Friday damage. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys goodies that I purchased over Black Friday from the brand Juvia's Place. Now, Juvia's Place is another brand that I've heard so many great things about from a variety of people representing a broad range of complexions as well as a broad range of tastes when it comes to makeup looks. So, just like what happened with Morphe this past Black Friday, I thought to myself,
oh, I wonder if Juvia's Place is having a sale.
Again, always heard great things about their products, especially concerning the pigmentation as well as the blendability of their palettes. But I've never owned any of them or played with them myself. And it really wasn't until my little sister, this was like a couple months ago, mentioned to me that there was a Juvia's Place blush palette that she's been eyeing. She saw it on the Ulta's website and she had it like favorited and she was waiting for it to go on sale so she can purchase it. And when she told me about that palette, I decided to add it to my favorites. Well, fast forward a couple of weeks later, and then I'm checking out stuff for Black Friday. I'm looking at Ulta's website. I'm seeing the palette. I'm thinking to myself, you know, I wonder if Juvia's Place is having a sale, like directly on their website. And then I go and check out their website and I see that they are having a sale, and it was a bomb sale. I am sorry for anyone that missed out on that sale because it was great. But anyways, let's just say that my little sister has a gift from Juvia's Place with her name on it. What normally happens when I'm perusing those websites and I see that there's a sale going on and I see all these lovely palettes and other lovely products, I end up purchasing a few additional items. And girl, by the time I got on Juvia's Place's website, and mind you, this is the morning of Black Friday, so many stuff was already sold out. I don't know if they started their sale earlier in the week, similar to how Color Rain did it, but by the time Black Friday, that Friday, the morning of, when I got on the website, a lot of stuff was sold out. A lot of their best-selling and popular palettes were sold out. Not all of them, but a good amount were. And there was this one bundle, for instance. There was this one bundle. Let me know if you got it because it was a sweet deal. I believe it was 6 of their popular palettes. And that bundle of palettes was selling for, I want to say it was like $73. It was something between $70 to $80. If you were to go to their website now and try to purchase that palette bundle, it's $135. So that thing was basically like 50% off and you got 6 of their eyeshadow palettes. Like, it was ridiculous. Without further ado, let's get into it, y'all. First things first, I got the Saharan blush bundle. The Saharan blush bundle actually contained both the Saharan 1 blush palette, this one, and it also contained the Saharan blush volume 2 palette, which is this one. This was actually the gift that I ended up getting from my sister. These blush palettes are 6-pan palettes, and each of them contains 2 shimmer shades. The packaging for Juvia's Place, it's inspired by African culture and it's so vibrant and colorful and the women are all gorgeous. I just love the packaging. It warms my heart just looking at these palettes, you know? But in terms of the packaging, I love how it's very secure. It reminded me of the packaging from Morphe, how the palettes themselves are wrapped in bubble wrap inside of the box, which I think makes it more secure and more steady when it's in transit. Speaking of in transit, the one complaint that I have with my Juvia's Place purchase is that from the time that I made my online purchase to the date that my products actually arrived, like was delivered, it was almost 3 weeks. Like, I was afraid that I wasn't even going to get it in time to take with me because I'm flying back home to Florida. I wasn't really getting any updates in terms of my package being shipped. And then when I did get an update that it was shipped, the actual shipping company, which was FedEx, that wasn't updating. So I had no clue what was going on. And in general, I got an issue with FedEx. I prefer UPS when it comes to deliveries. But anyways, that was me going on a little rant, a little tangent. But this is what volume 1 looks like. All of their palettes came with this little plastic covering to protect the colors. And this is what she looks like, you guys. Isn't she gorgeous? So in general, when you read the packaging for these blush palettes, it says, a Saharan goddess. The Saharan blush palette embodies a meticulously formulated array of colors to captivate facial structures with a flush of richly pigmented colors to make you a true Saharan. For volume 1, specifically on Juvia's Place's website, they advertise this as being both a blush and contour palette. And when you're looking at these colors, I can see that. Like, for instance, some of these shades, like this one down here, this dark brown shade, Abby, that's a beautiful dark chocolate brown. Someone with my complexion can definitely use that to sculpt, to contour their face. This one would be more of like a everyday, more natural looking blush. And then if you wanted to top your blush or maybe highlight your face, they do have 2 golden shades. And again, this particular palette I think is definitely geared more towards those with a darker complexion. Next we have the Saharan Volume 2 palette. Again, the same packaging, nice and secure. Came with this little plastic covering. So when I look at the colors of this palette, I see peachy colors, more pink colors, you know, colors that I typically associate with blushes. And if you're someone who has a lighter complexion, I can definitely see how this particular shade up here in the corner, Yara, I can definitely see how they can probably use that as a contour shade. And I also heard that a lot of these blush colors you can also use as eyeshadows. I don't see why not. The formula is probably very similar to the formula of their eyeshadows. And I do think that this particular palette, the volume 2, would work well for a variety of skin tones. Next, we have the Saharan palette, which is an eyeshadow palette. For the Saharan palette, the description on the box says, a lively Saharan, inspired by the vibrancy and vivaciousness of the Wadobe festivities in the Fulani culture of West Africa, filled with elaborate and flamboyant makeup. The Saharan pressed pigment palette is endowed with pops of color, earthy hues and golds that emulate a true Saharan. And this is what she looks like. Now, as you can see, it is a 12-pan palette. It's a combination of eyeshadows as well as pressed pigments. And this palette contains 4 matte shades, which are more like transition colors, 4 shimmer shades, as well as 4 satin finish shades. Don't ask me which one's the satin finish versus which one's the shimmer. I have no clue. Remember, I am a makeup novice. I'm learning just like you guys are. So what really drew me into this palette are the colors. Several of these colors, I find them to be very unique. They're not colors that I believe I have in any of my other eyeshadow palettes. Next, we have the Magic Mini Palette. So this palette, when you read the description, it says, opposites attract. The Magic Palette was inspired by the moon and sun goddesses of the wilds. A beautiful fusion of cool and warm tones, vibrantly infused with 16 ultra pressed pigments, perfect for day to nighttime looks. And here she is. It is a 16 pan palette and they're all pressed pigments. It's such a colorful yet compact palette. I find that several of these colors to be unique, or at least unique to the eyeshadow palettes that I own. Down here, that's a beautiful navy blue color. And over here, this is more like an indigo. I don't come across indigo too often in eyeshadow palettes. I mean, that's not the name of this color, but that is the color. To me, it looks like an indigo. I do like this silvery shade, which is next to another silvery shade, but I like this one a little bit more because it's darker. I feel like it wouldn't be so much of a stark contrast against my skin tone compared to this other silvery shade. Next, we have the Warrior palette. So this palette is described as the Amazons, inspired by the ferocious and decapitating beauty of the Bohemian Amazons of Africa, who defied societal norms to protect their people, a true embodiment of strength, fierceness, and beauty. All right, sis, go ahead. And you guys, this is what she looks like. So this palette is a 9-pan palette, and when I saw this palette, I immediately thought bronzed goddess. I can see how this palette can help me achieve a golden glow to my makeup looks. I mean, look at these shades. There are beautiful golds, browns, as well as bronze colors. And on my skin tone, I can definitely, in my opinion, I could definitely get away with using this palette like on an everyday basis. Maybe not so much like a natural makeup look, but like a more enhanced version of that, if you know what I mean. Mainly because of all the shimmers that are in this palette. But I can also see how if I wanted to, I could make that everyday look more edgier and bolder. Any person who has a complexion similar to mine, I think this palette has like the basic colors that we should have in our collection. Great foundational shades. Next, we have the Warrior 2 palette. Now this palette, I believe, is one of their new palettes. And this is her. And if I forgot to mention, both Warrior palettes are pressed pigments. It's a 9-pan palette, and with this palette, I really feel like Juvia's Place was branching out in terms of the earth tones. In my opinion, if you were to compare them to the Warrior 1 or the original Warrior palette, I feel like these have more warmth to them. And I also think that these particular colors have more vibrancy to them. These colors would definitely stand out more against my darker complexion. May even be a bit more sultry. So one of the reasons why I think they really branched out with this palette in terms of the colors is mainly because of this middle row right here. When you think of earth tones, you do think of, you know, at least for me, I think of browns and greens and things of that nature. But here you get to see more of like the oranges that are involved with earth tones. When I think of these colors, I think of clay. And clay comes in so many different colors, but those colors are very, very earthy. As well as these last two shades do kind of remind me of sand. So again, when I look at these colors, I do think of elements when it comes to the earth. And another reason why Juvia's Place branched out with this palette is because it's their very first all matte palette. Let me show you a little side by side of the original Warrior palette and then the Warrior 2 palette. I think both palettes actually work well together. I want to say that they seem complementary to each other. I believe that the Warrior palette had several shimmer shades that would go well with several of the matte shades of the Warrior 2 palette. The last time I checked the Juvia's Place website, there weren't any reviews posted yet from customers who bought this palette, the Warrior 2 palette. But if any of you purchased this palette, let me know your thoughts down below. Well, that's it for my little Juvia's Place haul / Black Friday damage. No more. Rebuke it. Not today, Satan. Bank account can't handle that. But I do think I ended up getting great foundational palettes and exploratory palettes that I just can't wait to dive in and develop my skills when it comes to doing makeup on myself, and also knocking down some of those walls of intimidation that I have when it comes to makeup. But with that said, did any of you guys hit up Juvia's Place this past holiday season? For some of you veterans out there, are there any Juvia's Place palettes or even some of their other products, because I think they have highlighters too and a couple of other blushes? Are there any that you would recommend to the rest of us newbies? If so, go ahead and leave your comment down below. I wish you all a happy Christmas, a happy holidays, and a joyful new year. Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore thee. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you at my next upload. Bye.